We didn't sign up for this shit.
Hey, Steve.
Ready to get embarrassed?
Embarrassment's not an emotion for me.
Really?
I don't know.
Also, my name's not Steve. Out of all the names, you chose Steve.
Oh, Daniel? Is that a better name for me to have chosen?
I'm a Steve. That's okay.
Roberto?
Nothing wrong with Steves. Maybe.
Sounds like there's something wrong with Steve's, but okay.
Not all Steves.
Do you even know any Steves? Do I even know any Steves?
I do. I know a Steve, but I'm not going to go into it because it's at work. So.
Anywho.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much, and then maybe Steve happens to listen to it, which he probably won't.
Well, if he does, hi, Steve.
He's a very calm guy. He's a very calm guy. Cool dude.
We weren't going to talk about him.
Huh?
I thought we weren't going to talk about
That's
him, and now
always-
here we are,
I'm
and
not
you're
saying anything
telling
bad.
everybody his life story.
There's so many Steves.
The best one of all, though, is Irwin.
Mm-hmm. Not Steve Carell.
But Steve Irwin.
That made you think. Oh, jeez. But anyways, wow.
Steve
Nothing wrong
Carell
with
is that
Steves.
guy from Spy Kids, right? I'm just kidding.
Wow, what a shame. Steve Irwin is better though. Anyways, what's up? What's going on?
Oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because, like, the ceiling is up. See what I did there? That's a knee slapper.
This is like, that's a response that like a 4-year-old would have. Oh, the ceiling's up. Like,
It's an insult to you.
Jeez.
You're the one dating a 4-year-old, so.
jeez.
But just been hanging out as per usual, spending 8+ hours a day sitting in this chair, but now I'm getting paid to do it. So,
Are you stretching while you're sitting there?
I mean, yeah, I get up every so often.
Yeah. Sadly, your desk isn't like mine. I have a rising desk. If I want to, I can just rise it and stand.
Look at this dope ass chair I have.
It is.
I don't need to stand up.
Yeah, but it feels so good to kind of stand up and not just be sitting all the time, doesn't it?
No, I actually ordered the attachment that allows me to go to the bathroom while I'm sitting here.
So you want to live the life of Charlie's grandparents in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka, both.
Well, except I'm not going to hide the fact that I can actually walk, like Grandpa Joe,
Oh,
that
you can
sleazy
walk.
bastard.
Big
Sat
fan.
there in bed for years.
But it sounds like you would
decades.
love to live that sort of life.
Yeah.
Get those bed sores.
No. You would turn me every once in a while.
Who said that I would turn you?
For better or for worse.
Yeah, well, I'm up and about and you're just laying in the bed. I'd be very concerned.
Chair.
That's called depression, folks.
What if I'm getting paid for it? Is it still depression?
To lay there? I mean, no, but it can turn into that way because a sedentary lifestyle can influence that. And I'm not a medical professional, but there has been research.
She went to
Data.
college.
I did. And I graduated.
I know.
Yeah.
Now she does my homework for me.
I don't.
For legal reasons, in case anybody from my school watches this, she does not do my homework for me.
I don't. It's not really a legal reason. It's more...
That's fraud against the U.S. government. I'm getting student loans. I can't misrepresent
I
those
mean, doing
student
homework
loans.
would be like if I was doing your homework, that would like you would fail, but and it would be
Oh, so now you're gonna
like
fail me and not give
plagiarism
me
in a
good.
way,
Oh, well, I mean, yeah,
but
and
it's
then
not
I'd get kicked out
legal.
of the
You get kicked
school.
out. It's not legal, and you still have to pay back the loans regardless. But I don't do his homework now.
You have to start paying your school loans soon.
Next month, maybe pay. Then they'll forgive them in like 6 days. Um,
Uh, can
I did
you?
see someone just got their like $175,000 or something forgiven. Like I don't know what that was about,
Yeah, but
but
they probably graduated in like 1958.
they're if they graduated in 1958, they probably finished paying off their college because it was like $10.
That's
Like
true. They were working part time and they were able to buy a house and
yeah,
graduate debt free. That's
right.
yeah.
There's now it's just ridiculous.
And
Back then,
then they sold that house for $2.5 million because it had a big yard.
to be back in those days, but then like I don't necessarily envy the people who grew up during that time necessarily. Um, you know, there was still segregation was still a thing. And that wasn't that long ago. But yeah, boomers, they're always like, I had to pay for my school and I bought my own house and if, you know, it
You
was
can
easy
do
for
it
me, you
too,
can do it
but
too. And
we
it's
get
like,
paid the same that their kids did when they were like 16.
yeah, and I'm just like, dude, shut up. You paid, first of all, not that much for college. And that whole argument, you should want better for future generations. Like, just because we're going through it now, like, just having the worst time with the environment, with, like, people being murdered, like, all this stuff that's terrible, I wouldn't wish that upon the future generations.
People don't get murdered, but
Like, just so much going on in the world, and for me to be like, well, I went through that, so they have to. That's such a bad mindset. But that's my piece on that. Anyways, that's not the main point of this episode. Just had to go into it a little bit. What are we talking about?
uh the manufacture and distribution of methamphetamine.
No. Did you
Oh,
say that on here? I don't know
what?
if you're allowed to say that. Are you?
Uh, I don't know. I guess we can edit it out. When did it happen? 8.5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, and obviously that was a joke. But yeah, we definitely need to let's not put that on the internet.
What are we talking about? Embarrassing stuff.
Embarrassing moments. I honestly love this topic and it's gotten like it's taken me a while to get to the point where I'm fine with like embarrassing moments. Like there are still times where I'm just like I'll turn red, but like it's it's part of the human experience. So that's why it makes me like maybe we can all relate to something or a time we've been embarrassed, even though someone over here doesn't really get embarrassed. But maybe he has when he was younger. We'll see. Um, I think, yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
great topic.
Yeah.
So first, I want to ask you: have you ever embarrassed someone that you know of?
Hold on. The video didn't freeze, guys. I'm just thinking. Um,
Unintentionally or intentionally?
I mean, off the top of my head, I pantsed someone once.
Do you think that was in the effort to embarrass them, or you're like, oh, this is a fun thing to do?
Yeah, it's a
So
fun thing to do.
everyone's doing it, and you're like, I want to do it.
Yeah, it was the bridge that everybody jumped off as a kid.
Yeah. The honestly though, I really hope that's not happening anymore. It was some of them like really horrible things to witness in a way, and I know like obviously you know better now. People know better as adults, but especially when like guys were going pantsing girls, like that is just such a violation. Hopefully you didn't do that. Um
I mean, I pants Nate the last time I saw him.
and I don't mean this in like you shouldn't like no one should be pantsing anyone, but you know how women already feel with men, it's like, dude, seriously. But you grew from that. You have grown any other times?
Um,
And sometimes this is a hard question because I don't think if we unintentionally embarrass someone, I don't think people know that a lot unless someone tells us, hey, like you embarrassed me.
yeah, no, it's true. Uh, no, I mean, like the normal kid stuff, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like when you throw a tantrum or some shit in a public place and like that's embarrassing to your parents.
Yes, it is. Kids don't realize that. But then if you're like, some parents are very straightforward. They're like, if the kid's being like wild, um, they'll just like literally smack the kid in the grocery store or something and
True.
embarrass the kid in a way. Um, but yeah, I've actually, I don't think I've never intentionally embarrassed anybody. Like I've had people do that to me and I don't like that feeling. Unintentionally, I have no idea. Like I can read cues pretty well. Oof, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
I can read cues like a lot of the time, but in those situations, if I've done something like I don't remember it. Um, but yeah, I just want to for say embarrassing moments. Um, it's let's normalize them and just like laugh it off and not like
Right.
make fun of each other. I mean, sometimes you gotta laugh. Like those falling, like those memes where the person's like falling and stuff. It is funny, but you know, then just be like, "Hey, are you good? Like, I'm sorry I laughed, but it was kind of funny. Are you good?"
Okay, so it wasn't like me doing the embarrassing, but when I was in kindergarten up in Logan, or that yeah, that was kindergarten. Kindergarten up in Logan, my teacher was standing and like it was winter time. It was winter time in Logan. So for those that live outside the state or haven't been up to Logan, it gets very snowy sometimes up there. And so the ground was slippery and she slipped and fell on her ass. The whole class laughed and she just went like almost purple from how red she went.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got up and she yelled at all of us about how she could have been seriously hurt and it was wrong of us to laugh. And even though I don't think she really was that hurt, just her pride that a bunch of 6 year olds saw her eat shit.
Yeah, and it's like,
But
what are you expecting like 6-year-olds to like help pick you up like these like tiny little kids?
right.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Um, what was I gonna say on that? Um, shoot, my mind just blanked. Oh, yeah. So she got it like she obviously got embarrassed and didn't just laugh it off and be like, "Huh, like that was nothing, kids." Like, and I've learned to do that over the years. Before, if I'd fall, so I I'm so clumsy. I'm so clumsy. And if you don't accept it and laugh at yourself, you're gonna have a miserable life, especially since I'm clumsy. Like, imagine just like I'd be getting like embarrassed and upset each time that happened and it just destroying me internally. Like, my whole life I'd just be embarrassed because I'm that clumsy. But I fall going up the stairs. I will fall on like a flat surface. There's nothing there. And it'll happen and people will look. I'll just like laugh and just walk away, not give it the intention because that's what creates that embarrassment. And then, I mean, I'm not really good at this, but then you can be self-deprecating and make a joke about yourself and just people do that too. Um,
Right.
and then it's actually really hard to think of like exact like moments of embarrassment. Like I'm still excited, but I was excited to like do this podcast and I was like, oh, like all these embarrassing moments, and now I'm like, where are they?
So you would consider embarrassment and shame to be different, right? Is shame a type of embarrassment or vice versa?
Oh, that's such a good question. Like, I think shame is like,
Because for me, at least, like, I feel it in the same place in my gut. Those two emotions, or what I would contrive to be those two emotions.
and I think I've talked about this in therapy with my therapist before, and I cannot remember what she said. I feel like shame, you get embarrassed, but then shame is like a secondary emotion, or shame is more like you're ashamed of doing, like, not doing something bad, but like embarrassment is like, oh, oopsie, like you just did something silly, but shame is more like, wow, like I can't believe I feel like it's more painful. I don't know.
Okay, no, I get you. So,
Yeah.
like, embarrassment is when I was juggling a soccer ball trying to impress a girl I liked, and I went up too far, and my other foot came out from under me, and I just landed flat on my back. Shame is when my dad found out that I threw a party at a friend's house, and the cops ended up getting called the next day.
That, yes. Honestly, that's a good analogy. Um
Both true stories.
yeah.
Both very close in proximity to each other time wise, but
That's funny. But yeah, that's kind of what I would consider it. If you guys have any like thoughts on that, or like shame versus embarrassment and how you view it, and maybe even if you are comfortable sharing like certain scenarios, let us know. But yeah, I would say shame is like, hey, like I did something I maybe shouldn't have done, and now like I'm just ashamed of myself. Um, but then embarrassment is just like, it's something that you weren't maybe even expecting to do and it just happened.
you skinny dip or you're fooling around outside in public or semi public and you get caught by the cops. Do you feel embarrassed or ashamed?
Hmm. Oh geez. I would say embarrassed. Like, I would have to be in the situation to really know, but I would feel embarrassed that somebody like just caught me there.
Sure.
But shame, like it is essentially it's part of the human experience too. Like, yeah, it's in public, but people like to have fun and try things, and it's not necessarily hurting anyone. And it's like taking charge of that sexuality, where I'm like, I don't think I would be ashamed, more so embarrassed. But then that kind of, it changes my definitions of what I had said earlier a little bit, because I mean, essentially you weren't expecting to get caught.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I mean, there's always that possibility, but you're like, hey, like, people do this. I mean, they do it. Like, they are, I want to say have sex, but are we allowed to say that? Yes, I think we are.
Pretty sure we're allowed to
People,
say the other thing I said, even
yeah,
since we're not talking about it. So
yeah, like, people do have sex in public, and they're like, hey, like, it's thrilling, but it's not like they necessarily want to be caught, but just that thought. So I think that's why, like, I would say, like, embarrassed because you did get caught.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I get you.
Maybe yeah, it's all, yeah, shame. Like, I've had this, like, conversation with my therapist, and she would ask me, like, so what, like, do you know what emotion this really is? Because she knew the answer, but she was asking me, and, like, it was something that was, like, shame, I'm pretty sure. But that was a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Embarrassment. Wow. I've had, like, these things that where it's like, so this was in a long time ago. I was in middle school, probably 12 or 13. And MySpace was still popping then. It's not anymore, if you guys didn't know that. Um but I had a crush on this guy, and like we were really good friends, but I had a crush on him. However, I didn't want to say it. Like those things that, like, kids do, like they don't want to say it, like, directly. So I, like, created, like, a different MySpace account
Right.
to, like, message him and be like, hey, like, I like you. And he's like, oh, who's this? Like, and then it was getting into this, like, whole thing. And then I finally said it was me. And he was just like, oh, like, it was just the most embarrassing thing ever. And he was just like, I think you're cool, but I don't see you like that. And he's like, why are you like he was kind of just like, why are you, like, messaging me from this other account and stuff? Because at first I was like, oh, I know someone who likes you. And then it just, I ended up embarrassing myself. And I right now I'm cringe at what I did, because I would never do that as an adult. Like, it just, I have embarrassment. How many years has that been? 13? Yeah.
Yeah.
About 13 years down the road, and sometimes I remember that and I cringe. But why?
Yeah, I mean, you were a
Every
kid.
middle school
You
kid
gotta
was
put
like
yourself
that.
out there, right?
But I wasn't. I was hiding behind a fake account, and it wasn't like catfish or anything. It was just like, oh, you know, yeah,
So
it's just awkward.
apparently, and yes, awkward, but again, that's part of being a kid.
Yeah.
But you mentioned MySpace being dead. Apparently, in at least 2022, it still had almost 7 million monthly users.
Wow. I mean, I know that they kind of repurposed it. Like, MySpace was, it was more like, it was like what we think of social media, like the pictures with the posts, like that's what MySpace was when I was in middle school. But then later it became, like, more focused on, like, music and people putting out music. So it wasn't the same, but it was repurposed to, like, music stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've seen, or pretty much is music.
Yeah.
God, this site still reminds me of like a website from the early 2000s, though.
Yeah, it's weird. You think they'd kind of make it a little better.
Okay, they're playing into the nostalgia factor, and it's working.
Um, some nostalgic things aren't just not meant to be.
And I mean, this is pretty updated.
Yeah. But
S-
that's still a pretty good amount of people like in 2022 using um MySpace. Like so like I'm just wondering like are like musicians getting big through MySpace? I just wonder.
Maybe, but not really, because MySpace can't even get one of their front pages to load.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Rest in peace, MySpace.
Also, one of the ways you can sign into MySpace is with Facebook.
You can
The
sign to
irony.
Instagram with Facebook. You can do like Facebook controls everything, which is weird because I also want to say rest in peace Facebook for me. Like Facebook needs to die,
But then she's on Instagram and Threads all the time.
which is just a whole different experience than Facebook. And I feel like people on Facebook are it's just like a lot of like older people that don't understand how stuff works. Have you ever gotten like one of the like a reply on your picture that's like an aunt or a grandma that's like, "Oh, hey Andrew, like, oh, I miss you so much." And then they do this like story like
Yeah,
instead of just be like nice picture, they're like talking to you on your post for the picture.
there was once I posted a meme on my Facebook wall, and my grandma, bless her fucking heart, didn't agree with the meme. She thought it was inappropriate, and she made sure to let me know and then give me a stern talking to via Facebook comment. Every once in a while, that post still pops up, makes me laugh.
Didn't embarrass you.
No,
Um, that's cute. Like you do laugh though. Like you'll see something like that and you kind of want to be like, "Hey, this is not how it works." Like you want to tell that person, but you also just laugh because how they just
yep,
and then they're like, "I love you. Talk to you soon." Like you guys are having like a phone conversation. um, no, that's funny. But so you were saying that you never get embarrassed. Although it sounds like you did get embarrassed when you kicked that ball and fell, right? When you're trying to impress
I
that
mean,
girl.
yeah, but it's nothing that like has seared into my head and been something that I really like think about to this day. Like
I mean, it doesn't have to. It could have just been embarrassing for the
it's
time. How old were you?
I mean, even still, that one 16, 15.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
good
so at the
times.
time, but you don't generally get embarrassed,
Yeah, like
right?
what is there to be embarrassed about? If I mess up in something, cool. Everyone messed up at one point.
Yeah, that's true.
If I eat shit, cool. Everyone
Yeah.
eats shit.
Yeah, I want to be one of those people like if people try to like embarrass me, I want to be one of those people that just makes it into a joke and just goes with it. But I'm not. I'm like very you can see my frustration,
Yeah.
which that means they win. And I'm trying to work on that, like embarrassment, it just it happens. Um we just gotta because there's so many things that happen in life, like very sad things, very um depressing, hard things that sometimes when we look on embarrassment we laugh because maybe it makes us feel better. Um, you know, depending on because there's so much going on in life. There's no need to be embarrassed.
It's true.
It's hard. Easier said than done, right?
Very true.
But all we can do is work on it. Laugh at yourself, help others, maybe laugh at them too, but still help them. And let's back off the judgment. I know this is, the embarrassment episode, but judgment plays into it sometimes. But yeah, so I had a few stories there. It's so hard to remember, and that's more to prove your point. It's just so insignificant that in a few years you're just like, I don't even remember that time I got embarrassed.
Right.
Like, unless someone brings it up and then you're like, oh, you know?
Uh, I remember my dad a lot growing up because, like, as a teenager, full of emotions and hormones, anything that happened was a disaster. And his big thing was always letting me know that, like, it seems big right now, but you're going to look back in 10, 20, 30 years and you're going to laugh about this shit. And it's true. Like, when I got the call from Nate saying, hey, there's cops on the way down 70th, I thought it was the end of the world. And now I look back and I'm like, God, yeah, we were idiots. We really shouldn't have left a backpack. It was our undoing. Ha, we're dumb.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, well, this is it. I need to burn my hair off so my parents can't drug test me.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But all these things make great stories too. Just remember that. These are things that will make great stories you can tell kids about when you're telling them stories about your childhood or something your parent did to embarrass you or whatnot. In the end, it's an amazing story that we can all laugh at.
That's true.
Um, but yeah, that was all I had, and I mean, probably go on and on and on, but sometimes when I do that, it's just like I go on these tangents. But do you have anything else?
I don't.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Well, we appreciate you guys. We all the support is amazing. You know, follow us, share this with friends and family, like, subscribe. You know
You know the
the
drill.
drill. But yeah, have a good night, good morning, whatever it is where you're at, and love you guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.